All right, so just a reminder, you have Illustrator. If you go to the bottom of the screen and you start typing up ILL, you should find that that's there. If you would like to keep that handy, you're going to want to right-click on it, and then you can, mine is pinned to the start and the taskbar. You can pin it to the taskbar so it shows up down at the bottom of your screen. That way it kind of makes it a little bit easier for you to log on. All right, so right over here, we're always going to, well, I shouldn't say always, for right now, we're going to start with a new document. And there are other times where you're going to need to open a document. But my more favorite way of opening a document is actually looking at the one right below it where you have Open Recent. That one will show you every single thing that you have done, starting with the most recent thing, going all the way down to, in my case, I have 20. It depends on what your settings are at, okay? So you can go ahead, number one was the last thing that I had worked on. I can go ahead and open that one up if that's what I in fact need. In this case, no, I don't need my astronaut. I need a new document. And a reminder for your document, make sure you're always watching out for your unit size. Your unit type. You want to make sure that you are not on anything else unknowingly. For right now, you're going to stay on inches. It's so important because we know inches. We know about how big 1 inch is. We know that a sheet of paper is 8.5 by 11 inches. But we don't know what 273 pixels by 542 pixels looks like. And you don't want to get yourself into a bad situation with the document you're working on and it not working out well for you. Okay? Now, we can go simply here to a letter, which gets us to a regular page size. It's lovely. It's good to go. And we're going to go ahead and begin working. Again, you can name it right now, or you could wait until you save it. Okay? All right, so I've got this. A couple of reminders for some shortcuts that you need to be aware of. If you go on your keyboard, you see the control button, CTRL. It's on the lower left-hand side. I believe there's another one towards the right of your spacebar. If you hold that down and you tap on the plus sign, you can zoom in. If you tap on the minus sign, you can zoom out. And if you tap on control and tap on 0, you will get a full screen, so it fits it perfectly to your screen. Okay? So again, those are 3 keyboard shortcuts that are really, really important. Right here, see all my tools are working this time. Beautiful. Right here, I have my regular selection tool. That selects an object. Right next to it, I have a direct selection tool, which we haven't really talked about, that I do want to talk about today in just a short bit. We have a couple of other tools here, but what we spoke about last week, we dealt mostly with our pen tool as well as our shape tool. So you have these rectangle tools, and just a quick reminder, anything with that little triangle in the bottom right corner, if you just click and hold right there, you will find that there are multiple options for it. So you want to be aware of that so that you can then kind of work a little bit better, especially when you need a circle, for example. I'm going to go to the ellipse, all right? So when I'm looking at my shape tool, when I click and drag, I get a shape. And that shape has a fill, which is kind of what the color is on the fill, and it has an outline or a stroke. Those appear right here. So if I use my direct selection tool, I can grab that path, see I click off of it, I click on the path. Again, a quick reminder, Illustrator works with points on a path. It is a vector-based program, as opposed to Photoshop, which is a raster or a pixel-based program. Illustrator vector files command a lot more money in the marketplace. They can be resized and rescaled to fit anything without a loss of quality. As opposed to like getting a picture off of Google and then stretching it. It looks pretty bad once it's stretched. In this case, it will stretch beautifully. Okay? So here is my fill, and then here is my outer stroke. I also have the ability to change the amount of outer stroke that's out there, the uniformity of the line, as well as the brush definition or what the style of the line looks like. I can do other things in here like opacity, I can do some aligning, that sort of thing. But again, you'll learn those things over time. So if I click on this little arrow, you're going to find that a menu of colors comes out, this little sort of sub-menu. If you just get black and white in there, we do need to talk because it depends on how you've opened something up, and I can show you how we can work with that. So I could fill it with blue, let's say. And then my outer stroke, I can turn it off if I wanted to. This is really important. This first box with the red slash through it, that means there's no fill or no stroke. There's no color to it. So if I just wanted a blue box, I can say I don't want an outer stroke. When I click off of it, you can see very clearly that I don't have an outer stroke around my object there. Okay? So again, I want you to be familiar with that so you can use it wisely. But let's just put an outer stroke. I'm going to put it yellow. You could see that nothing happened. It didn't happen because I didn't select what I wanted it to do something to. So again, I select it. There's my outer stroke. It's yellow. It's super tiny though, because it's only a 1 point. I can click on that. I can give it a stronger outer stroke. I can go in here and change the uniformity of my line. Let's say this fits really well. It's skinny on one end and it's wide on the other. So you go skinny and it widens up in here and then it gets to a larger size. I could do something like that. Maybe that's just like the perfect eyeball for one of my characters or something. Otherwise, I go to uniform. I also have this, it's a brush definition, sort of what the edge looks like. For example, like this one is a charcoal feather edge. It gives you a really nice charcoal-y looking feather edge. You can see it a lot when I zoom in. Okay, so again, those are some really cool options for you should you see fit. Again, don't overkill. We do want to see that it's with reason and we've got things going here that really make a lot of sense. Okay, so that is my shape tool. A quick reminder, not sure if I said it last week, I can drag this shape. Let's say I want a perfect square. Right there, when I get that little slash, that means I've dragged it out perfectly. But even easier, let me just delete that. I hit the delete key on my keyboard and that was selected, so that's what deleted. Even easier than that is actually hold down the shift key and it will automatically give you a perfect whatever that shape is. If I'm in the stars, it's going to automatically give me a perfect star. Instead of me like, oh, is that, I can't tell if it's quite perfect. Now look at that. I can even rotate it. All kinds of really cool stuff. So again, I want to delete something. Let's say I want to delete the star. I select the path. I hit delete. I can also, on the selection tool, drag a box around the edges of everything I want to get deleted, and I can hit the delete key as well. Okay? So again, that is my shape. I've got all these possibilities for shapes. Let's stay away from the flare tool for right now. Some of you may have dabbled with it, but I don't want it to clutter kind of the exercises really that you're doing at this point. Okay? All right. So the last tool that you guys are going to be using is this pen tool. And this pen tool is just that. It's a pen. So when I click, I get a path. I clicked once and there's my first point. Now I've got to decide what to do. Here's what I didn't show you last week though. When you click on the next one, it's going to give you a straight line. Now, when I click on the next one and I hold that click and I pull outwards, I can actually grab and make a curve. So again, instead of, now it's automatically giving me another curve on that end. I can click one time. And then again, when I go to the end, I'm going to close that path. You'll see that little circle pops up to the lower right-hand corner of my pen tool right on the screen. You see that little circle? It's there. Now it's not. It's there again. That is where I'm able to close my path. That's going to give me a successful closure. So when I get in here, it gives me a proper end. It gives me a point. If I got close to it, let me zoom back out. If I just got close to it, sorry, this is going to be kind of a weird shape, but I got close enough, didn't I? And then I click off of it. Nope, that's messy. So again, you've got a huge difference between those two. Oh, sorry, a little touch sensitive there. You've got a huge difference between these two and how finished the work is. This kind of finishing on the edges is going to command a higher dollar bill than this kind of a finish. Okay, this is, I got close enough and it's done. This is, it's done. Okay, so you really want to make sure you're thoughtful about that. So one more time, if I want to get rid of both of those shapes, I could just, on on the black selection tool, I can grab both of them at once and hit the delete key. So one more time, the thing I want you to mess around with today is this pen tool in creating your shape, but also learning how to create that shape with curves. Okay? Now, really, really important. Some of you, I saw you're using your pen tool for the mouth and you're giving yourself little, like click, 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 for a mouth. See how I didn't close that path and I get this little end hanging out there? Just go ahead and click off of it. And click right on my selection tool. And then I can come back in here, select it, remove my fill. Change the color of the outer stroke, let's say. Now, of course, that's a little messy looking, but you could be much more elegant now that you know you can click and manipulate where that's going. I can even come in there now. I'm going to click off of it, click back on it, and maybe I am going to do that because that's a little more natural looking. Okay, so that's where I went to my width profile. This one I chose a 1. I could even come in here and give it a wider smile. So again, you want to try to pick the most efficient way of creating those things, but also the thing that makes it look the best. The most efficient doesn't always look the best, so you've got to learn that little juggling act of what you need to do when. Okay? So, for today, I would like for you to continue on your way of trying out these different tools so that you can kind of see where you're going with this whole Illustrator thing. You should feel comfortable. I'm not saying be an expert, but you should feel comfortable with using that pen tool and with using that shape tool. You should also feel comfortable with what fill means, what outer stroke means, what your width profile looks like, your brush definition, and the points of your outer stroke. So those are some really important things. So again, last week I did a smiley face. Let's see how much better your smiley face gets today. And then potentially even get to one more emoji of your choosing. It could be something that you created. It could be something that exists. But again, I want you to try to get it as neat as you possibly can. And then we're going to do a screenshot of the day. So if you need to do multiple screenshots and you're deleting stuff, do multiple screenshots. Just a quick reminder, if you look to the lower left-hand side of your keyboard, you will see that little Windows key. It looks like a flag or a window. It's got 4 wavy squares. You're going to hold that down, and you're going to tap on the upper right-hand side of your keyboard. There's a key called Print Screen, Prnscr, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure on exactly that, but again, only have to come and see me one time, and you got it. You're going to hold the Windows key, tap on the print screen. You're going to see that your screen will go dark, and that means it recorded a screenshot. In this case, I'm going to control minus, or, bless you, I remember we're going to control 0, so I can see everything I did. Let's say I filled up this whole page. I can go ahead, Windows, print screen, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that to Google Classroom. Just a quick reminder, when you go into your, notice I went to my, my little Windows File Explorer down there. I'm going to go in my pictures, and there is a file in there called screenshots. When I go in my screenshots, you're going to find that that is where all of those pictures are housed. You'll see I've got quite a few in there. I need to delete them, but that's where you need to upload it from when you put it on Google Classroom. Other than that, just have some fun playing around with this, start to feel more comfortable, and tomorrow we're going to introduce some new tools.